Yo, what's going on, good people? It's your main man, H. Cortez here, wealth strategist, author, serial entrepreneur, and income shifter extraordinaire, here with a quick four-part series on how to really take your finances to the next level with income shifting. For those of you who are new to the concept of income shifting, it's basically shifting your income from the situation where you're taxed the most to where you're taxed the least, so it puts you in a position to be able to invest for your long-term future. So what we're going to do in this series is we're going to show you how you can minimize your taxes with income shifting. Then we're going to show you what it looks like if you use those tax savings to get yourself out of debt. And then we're going to talk about fixing your credit and the impact that that has on your overall wealth building strategy. And finally, we're going to talk about investing and how to maximize your returns on your investments and what that all looks like. And then we're going to give you a little bit of a bonus and help you understand if you found a way to make just an extra $200 or $300, $400 per month, what that can do in terms of accelerating your wealth building game plan. What I'm going to do at this point is I'm going to introduce you to my good friend Lawrence Haley. He is also known as a financial fitness coach. If you guys have not already followed him on social media, his Facebook page, as well as his YouTube channel, then I'll link to that stuff below. But he's going to break down the actual numbers. I talk a lot about income shifting, but I rarely show the benefits of how it all comes together from a number standpoint, and he's an excellent coach in that regard. He loves the numbers. So I'm gonna let him break that down for you, and trust me, you're probably gonna be a little ticked off. So part one, we're just gonna go into how much money you could be losing to taxes and what you should be thinking about doing to fix that problem. So let's get into it.
Welcome to this income shifting strategy session. My name is Larry Haley, and I will be presenting to you today our strategies, showing you how our strategies work from beginning to end, all the way through to financial freedom. So I'm going to get started. And so what you see on this first screen here is you see that it says, how much are you possibly paying in taxes? What we need to understand is, as an employee, employees pay the highest percentages in taxes. So no matter what you make, as an employee, you pay the most in taxes. And so as an employee, you're going to pay about a third of your income in taxes on average. Some people pay more, some people pay less. But on average, as an employee, you're paying about a third of your income in taxes. So you do the math. Whatever you make, just take about a third of that, and that's roughly what you're paying in taxes. Now, again, some people may be paying less because they may have other pre-tax deductions that lower their taxable income. But for the most part, you're going to pay about a third of your income in taxes. And so we know we pay a lot in taxes, but we really rarely ever look at the actual number. So this is just going to show you, what the actual number looks like. It's one thing to say, okay, well, there's a lot of money coming out, but when you see what you're actually losing and then think about what you could be doing with that money that you are losing, it starts to open your eyes as to why a lot of people are living paycheck to paycheck, because the biggest expense that we have in our lifetime is taxes. So we're going to get started. This employee, for this example, and again, this is all for illustration purposes only. None of these numbers are intended to give you an exact number of which you could possibly get back, or whatever the case may be. But just to show you that this is how the strategies work. And so for the most part, this is exactly how things play out. But again, everybody's situation is different. All right, so this person, we're going to say this employee makes $50,000 a year. All right, so they make $50,000 a year. So an employee making $50,000 a year, as you see below, the total gross income is $50,000, but their total taxes paid for the year is almost $17,000, meaning they're going to come home with about $33,000 of the money that they get up and go to work for every day. Now, that's a huge number. $17,000 is a lot of money. There's people who work full-time jobs who aren't making $17,000 a year. There's people who work second jobs that aren't making $17,000 a year. So this is how somebody making $50,000 can actually be living paycheck to paycheck, particularly if they don't have good habits with the money that they do have. And what it tends to happen is, because we lose a third of our income in taxes, we tend to go in debt to the banks for another third of our income. So here's the thing. We make $50,000, that's our gross income. But here's the thing, when you go get a loan from the bank is going to make your loan based off the $50,000, not the $33,000. So the banks are setting us up from the beginning because they're setting us up on a loan to pay a loan back using money that we don't even have. They base our payments on the $50,000. They don't base our payments on the $33,000. So already the banks are setting us up because it's not fair how they qualify us on $50,000 when we come home with 33. So you see the monthly income. Monthly, our gross monthly is 4,100, over 4,100. Our net monthly is about 2,700, almost 2,800. So we're paying almost $1,400 a month in taxes, and that's money that the government is taking out before we get it. So what could we do with an extra $1,400 a month? A whole lot. So one of the first strategies that we do in my econ is that we want to show you that on top of the fact that we're paying about a third of our income in taxes, 80% of Americans are overpaying taxes. 80%. So the first thing we want to do is we want to help those people put more money back into their paycheck, because the government's already taken a lot of our money. We can't afford to give them more than we should be giving. In fact, we don't need to pay a dime more than we're legally required to pay. So that's the first strategy we're going to do. Typically, we can help associates get back, anywhere between $100 to $800 a month back in their paycheck. According to the government, the average person is overpaying their taxes by roughly about $300 per month. So that's money that we could be using every month to help us pay bills, help us stay on time, to help us pay off debt. So we're going to go through that. We're going to talk about that strategy in a second, but first let's add some debt in for this person. So again, we're coming home with $2,700. Now this person has got debt like everybody else. So we're going to add their debts in. We're going to give them a couple of credit cards, a student loan, a car note, a mortgage, just like an everyday person. So just so you can see the power of the strategy as we go through it. So first, let's give them a credit card. We're going to give them 2 credit cards. And the first credit card, they owe $3,000 on them. And their monthly payment on that credit card is $75. We're going to get them another credit card, and we're going to say they owe $5,000 on that credit card. And the payment on that is $125. All right, we're going to get them a car note. Nothing too crazy. We're going to get them a $25,000 car, and their car payment on that is $350. We're going to give them a student loan, and the student loan, we're going to say they owe $50,000. And on their student loan, their monthly payment on that is $300. And then we're going to lastly give them a mortgage, and their mortgage is only $70,000, and their principal payment on their mortgage monthly is $400. So we'll say their actual payment is maybe $750, but we'll just say their principal payment is $400, because we can't add the taxes and interest and all that into the payment, because that does not pay off the mortgage. So we're just using the principal balance there. So what you see here is that on the right side, you see the actual payment that where it says new payment. That's called the debt snowball. So right beside that, you see with the debt snowball, how long it's going to take to pay each of those off, and without the debt snowball, how long it's going to take to pay each of those off, and that's months. So what the debt snowball is that once we pay that credit card off, the first credit card off, $75 a month, it's going to take us 40 months to pay that credit card off. And then we're going to take that $75 and we're going to roll that into the credit card, the next credit card, and we're going to pay $200 a month on that one. So it's only going to take us 25 months to pay that off. And then we're going to roll that $200 into the car note and pay $550 on that. And we're going to keep doing that and using that money to work for us, using that money to work to get us out of debt, because we're already spending that money today as it is. So I know that most people, when they pay off a debt, they put the money back in their pocket, but we're going to use that money to put it to work for us. So we're going to keep using that to get us out of debt. So let's go down and see how much debt we have. So we got $153,000 in debt, right? And so today, it's going to take us 41 years to get debt free if we're not doing the debt snowball. That is, if we're not using that money to roll it into the next debt. And in fact, most people, when they pay the credit card off, if they ever actually pay it off, they continue to use it. So it's a rolling debt. So we're going to use that money we're going to do a debt snowball and pay that debt off as fast as we can. So just doing a debt snowball takes us from 41 years to 19 years. Now, 19 years is still a long time, but you got to understand, if you were to go out and get a mortgage of $70,000 and your payment was $750 a month with $400 principal, it's going to take you 30 years to pay that off. So we're going to go ahead and go ahead and do the debt snowball so we can get debt free, $153,000. And once we get debt free, that frees up $1,250 a month that we're paying out to the banks, that the banks are making off of us every month, right? And so when we get all of that paid off, that frees up an extra $15,000 a year. So we're paying $15,000 a year in debt that we're losing. That's cash flow that's going out of the household. But once we pay it off, that's cash flow coming back into the house. What could you do with an extra $15,000 a year that you have nothing else to do with, but maybe start investing? And so that's what we're going to show you how to do, is how to start investing that money. But now, this is just to show you right now where you're at with the debt, how long it's going to take you to get debt free, and then if you just do the debt snowball. So now let's get into the actual strategies. So the first thing, like I said before, is we're going to show you how to correct your tax withholding to make sure you're not overpaying taxes. So for this example, because I have no idea how much a person will get back, I don't know what they have on their W-4 already, but when we correct the W-4, we want to make sure that we are breaking even. We don't want to owe the government, but we don't want them owing us either. So we need to get our money in our paycheck today. And again, according to the IRS, the average person is overpaying between $275 to $300. So we're just going to use $300 for this example. And $300 is going to put an extra $3,600 back into our household every year. That's an extra $300 a month. So where we were losing about $16,000 in taxes yearly, now we're only losing $13,000. So that's a little bit better. That's money that we were losing out on. We can put that money back into our pocket when we need it, so that we can pay our monthly bills, so we can avoid late fees and overdrafts and things of that nature. Now, monthly, we're only going to pay roughly about $1,100 in taxes. Now we're coming home with over $3,000, where we were coming home with $2,700 before. So we're a little bit better off now. But we're not going to use that $300 to just go out and start buying things and shopping and doing those type of things. That $300 got to go to work for us. We got to put that $300 to work. So now,
all right. Listen. So if you're like me, when I first saw this information, I was completely ticked off, right? This is definitely stuff that we should have learned in school, but we didn't. So good for me that I found income shifting, and you found this video, so now you have found income shifting. The one thing I like about the brain is you cannot unsee what you're seeing. If you haven't quite seen enough yet, then I want you to continue on to part 2, where Larry is going to break down for you how to put that tax savings to work for you in terms of debt elimination. So until next time, peace.